Hey everyone, Nathan Conover here from Nexus Youth and Family Services, and I'm going to be bringing the December 2021 Wellness Workshop to you guys today. And our topic for this wellness workshop is tips for staying calm in times of stress. So what does it mean to stay calm in times of stress? Well, firstly, there's so many sources of stress in our lives, not just with COVID, but just in general. Sometimes it feels normal to feel some anxiety when there is an impact of stress in just about every realm of your life. So, developing the ability to implement coping skills, which are just the ways that we manage stressful situations, and being able to stay calm during the times not just of stress, but also of uncertainty, means that you're less likely to suffer from the effects of stress, anxiety, and worry. So one little thing that I want to leave you guys with for this first part is really just don't try to figure out the difference between reasonable anxiety and too much anxiety. There are times where people might say, well, it's okay to be anxious in that situation, or it's okay to have, a certain level of nervousness in that situation. I would say for now, don't try to figure out what the balance is between those two because there's really no bar to pass before taking care of yourself. Okay, really, we're just going to focus on how can we implement some self-care and how can we kind of regulate so that our stress can be lessened. One thought that can be really helpful in staying calm during times of stress can be having the knowledge that you're not alone. Fear and uncertainty are often the main response to things that people don't understand. So, or maybe it feels threatening to your safety or maybe to the safety of your loved ones. You may experience anxiety in these situations or feelings of being unsafe, having a hard time sleeping, or any other number of negative, distressing emotions, or maybe even it makes you want to socially isolate. So, one key thing to remind yourself really is that you're doing the best that you can, especially during this time of COVID where it just feels like one thing after another, and 2 years later, it's still going on. Just remind yourself, really, you're doing the best that you can, and you're not alone. You have your friends, you have your family, you have a community of people around you who are all experiencing a lot of the same things, and really just helping to normalize that for yourself. Another way that you can help mitigate the effects of stress currently in the modern age would be to manage your media diet. During stressful, large-scale situations such as the COVID-19 pandemic, research shows that as people's exposure to social media increases, so do the feelings of stress. So there's a balance to being able to stay informed and make sure that you have the information that you need without taking in so much that you feel overwhelmed and stressed out constantly by the doom and gloom that is often presented by the mainstream media. It's important to dial down your exposure in general to the media content. Give yourself the space from news and social media enough to where you can utilize useful coping skills to be able to help calm down. So limit where you get updates and news from. You want to rely on trusted sources of information, the kinds of places that give you the facts. Something that can be really helpful for times of stress is sticking to a routine. When your typical routine and schedule are disrupted, it can be calming and grounding to create a new routine. So being able to set a schedule for yourself, whether that's in a calendar or what have you, that can be super helpful, especially if you have a family. Kids benefit especially from the predictability, the consistency that comes with a routine. Eating healthy and getting enough sleep, involving that in your routine makes a world of difference. Reading books, doing puzzles, playing board games can be really helpful just by being able to take your mind off present stressors, but also just to be able to have fun and make that a part of your routine so that it's not always serious. And then also exercising and getting outside. Exercise has shown to be extremely helpful in elevating mood, as has vitamin D, getting that sunlight. Mindfulness is another tool that can be really helpful in the fight against stress, particularly gratitude and affirmations. So, three things here as far as mindfulness goes. The first one, not knowing what the future holds, is one of the main reasons why people experience anxiety. It's that uncertainty. So mindfulness really focuses more on the present, focusing on what you can control versus what might happen, or thinking worst case scenario, really just being in the here and now. Number two is to be able to practice meditation or other mindfulness practices. You can do this alone or with the whole family. Meditation isn't necessarily some mystical practice that involves a ton of spirituality. It can be as simple as taking 5 minutes in the morning to just be still and just be able to breathe, do some deep breathing, really just stay in the present moment, like number one says. And deep breathing as a family is even some activities that have found to be pretty helpful for just family stress. And then number three is being grateful and recognizing what's positive in your life and in the world rather than focusing on the negative. It's okay to acknowledge the hard things that we're going through, but if we are exclusively focused on the hard things that we're going through, we're going to miss out on a lot of the other good things that might be happening. And if we're only stuck on the stressors, we're only going to be stressed, right? So taking time to really note the things that we are grateful for can be a huge shift in our attitude and make it help us be able to cope with the stressors much more effectively. Now here we have a little self-care bingo card, just as a helpful little tool for you guys. So if you want to take a picture of that just so you can save it, or if you want to go and find it elsewhere online so that you can save it, feel free. I found this kind of tool to be very, very helpful because self-care, especially during times of stress, is so important to maintain. And often it's one of the things that is neglected when things get really stressful. So it improves your overall body function, increases positive thinking, makes us less susceptible to stress, anxiety, and depression. All right, so pretty much every single thing on this little chart is one way to be able to do self-care. So not every single one is going to be super enjoyable for every single person, right? Maybe you're not the type of person who enjoys watching a TED Talk, or maybe you're not the type of person who wants to read a book, but maybe you do like to visit a new place, or maybe you do like to go for a walk. So there's plenty of things on this list that can help you guys take care of yourselves. So some of the other things would be guided meditation, expressing gratitude, reading a book, painting, baking, journaling. There's no shortage of ways to take care of yourself. You just need to figure out what works for you and what really fills you up. In addition to some of the tips that I have already laid out, I wanted to give you guys some extra resources as we normally do during our wellness workshop videos. These are more in line with some professional resources for you guys if you need it. If you or someone you know is feeling overwhelmed with emotions like sadness or anxiety, ask for help. It's okay to not be okay. Sometimes there are stressors that we just can't seem to get under control, and it's really impacting our daily functioning. These are the types of resources that are helpful for that. So first and foremost, call 911 if you're having thoughts of harm to yourself or to others. Another helpful number would be the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They have a distress helpline, so the number is listed right there, and they also have a text line with the number right there as well. In our own county, we have Amador Behavioral Health. You can find them on amadorgov.org. They have a lot of good programs to be able to access. And then, of course, we have us, Nexus Youth and Family Services. Our number is right there. Our address is right there, too. And we hope that you guys like and subscribe, because we are always coming out with new stuff that we hope will benefit you guys who watch. So thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas.